Dear students, in this session we are going to have discussion on Indian financial system. So when we think about Indian financial system, it is having two broad segment, that is the organized sector and the unorganized sector. And actually, the organized segment or sector of Indian financial system comprises of the financial market, financial institutions, financial instruments, and financial services. And the unorganized sector of Indian financial system contain or is made up of the local city funds or money lenders and all other unrecognized financial activities. And now, when we move on to the discussion on Indian financial system, our discussion will be mainly concentrating only on the organized sector or organized segment of Indian financial system. Of course, the unorganized segment of Indian financial system is a reality, but we we cannot or we will not be going deeply into the unorganized segment of Indian financial system, because the recognized or the formal Indian financial system is the structured one. And on the from the side of from our viewpoint, this recognized or the formal Indian financial system will be discussed in our classes. And when we before moving on to the Indian financial system, the organized segment of Indian financial system, we should realize first of all why a financial system is relevant, and why and what is this financial system. First of all, let us see what is a system or financial system. So actually, we all know about a system. System is actually something having many components, and all those components together constituting a or performing a common task. So such a thing can be called as a system. So we all are aware about computer systems, and computers are known as computer systems because it have many components. That is the input device like keyboard, mouse, etc., and it have the output devices like monitor, printer, etc., and again it have a CPU, and all these components together perform the computing function, or together is known as the computer. And each of these components alone cannot perform the task, and only when these components come together they can perform the computing task. That is a peculiarity of a system. Similarly, we have respiratory system and such other systems around us. So first of all, we should realize the importance or the peculiarity of a system. So actually, a system will have many components, and all those components will jointly perform work together to attain the common objective or task. Similarly, we have the financial system. Actually, financial system have many components. The organized segment of Indian financial system have many components, and these together these different components work together and and get integrates each other and perform the function of financial or ensure the flow of finance inside the economy. So that is a relevance of the financial system in a country. When we come to the discussion about the financial system, again we should see what is finance. So we know finance is actually something related with fund. Anything that is related with fund is known as finance. So we all have some knowledge about this finance. We have heard of this finance ministry, finance department. All these are common words that we hear in our day-to-day life. So when we think about the financial system or a financial components, we should understand, or we should realize that this finance is actually, when we think from a business viewpoint, from a commercial viewpoint, this financial system or this finance is the lifeblood of business and lifeblood of every organization. And it is like even it's a commonly in common uh, discussions, it's a we have, and it's a common usage that is finance is the lifeblood of business. So why it is a common usage, we should see, we should think, because without finance, without fund, a business cannot work or run smoothly. And similarly, a government or any entity in the world cannot work smoothly without the prompt and regular flow of fund inside it, the organization. So that is very vital for every country and every organization in and around us. So that's why it's a known as lifeblood. So likewise, we have our blood in our body. This fund or financial resources should flow from one place to another inside the system. So here, this financial system ensure this supply of money inside a economy. So that's the role of financial system in our economy also, in India also. That is, this Indian financial system ensures flow of money from one place to another, or flow of financial resources and financial assets inside the economy, so that none of the areas remain deprived of fund, and none of the areas in the economy will be having surplus money lying idle. So that is the role of a financial system. That is, the money should flow from the place where it is lying idle uh, to the hands of people, or locations where people are in need of money. So that process is facilitated through a good financial system in India. So when we move on, before we move on to this discussion on this financial system, one more thing we will see, that is the saving and investment aspects in an economy. So actually, in an economy, there are two categories of people. That is, we know in every economy, or in there are in an economy, there are people you earn income. And you all, everyone in an economy will be having some sort of income, and surely all this income will be uh, spent up to an extent by the person who earned this income. But people used to save some money out of their expenses, so that is known as a savings. That's a common thing in our households and in our society. That is, people will be having some sort of income, even it may be a daily laborer, or it may be an agriculturist or a businessman. Everyone in our society earn income, and out of the income that they earn, they will save some money. That is, they will save some money that comes to them as income, and only after saving that money they will spend the balance amount for their daily needs. So that's a common thing. And even this saving may be either in the form of a post office savings bank account, or it may be in the form of a savings bank account in a nationalized bank, or it may be in the form of some other kind of things, like purchasing gold or like that. So anyway, it's a common practice in our Indian society that people will save money, save the money from their income. And here, this savings, we should think where this saving should go. If there is a saving in an economy, that saving will have to be transferred to into the uh, hands of people who need the money. So that take place through a financial system. Okay, that is, if we save some money in our hand out of our income before spending them at money, then money have to be stored inside the formal financial system. That is, through, if it is a bank, the banks will be getting the money as savings deposits, and where this money that is kept in the bank goes. It will not be taken. It will not be logged in as a deposit in that bank. That money will be handed over by the bank to the public or distributed to the public as a loan, or it may be invested by the bank as in the capital market on such a way that money will be transferred to the people as uh, people in another way. So that is the peculiarity of savings and investment. Also, we should remember that these savings are actually the backbone of Indian economy, or actually every economy depends on these savings mobilized by the people, mobilized through the financial system for the development and growth of the economy. Actually, yeah, you just think about the Indian financial system. We have so many banks in India, or so many post offices in India, and all these post offices and banks are having crores of bank accounts, savings bank accounts. And actually, when people get some income, they used to save that some money out of their income before they spend that money, or without spending that money they will save some money in their hand. And actually what they do, they will deposit that money in banks. And when the money comes to the bank, banks are actually getting so many small saving bank account deposits. And when these banks get these deposits, actually many people are a single bank, a single branch in a particular place will be having thousands of bank accounts, and each bank account will be having 100 or 1000 or 10,000 as a deposit, a savings bank deposit. And these small deposits are actually constituting the backbone of Indian economy, because they are actually these small savings from the people that are mobilized through these small savings bank accounts, and the small investments are small deposits that are coming from the people, are actually forming the backbone of economy by means of this savings mobilization. Because when banks get this money, that is the money that is saved by the people out of their uh, income, they transfer that money, that excess money that they earn, into the financial system as through these bank accounts. And when banks get this money, what the banks do, banks transfer that amount, that fund, to the capital market, or the banks will give that money to the business people as loans. And these loans, or this money that is invested by the banks in capital market, form the capital of businesses or economic activities, and thus economic activities flourish, and thus the Indian economy is built up through the small savings and investments. So that is the vitality of savings and investments in a financial system. So actually what this financial system is doing, financial system is mobilizing or facilitating the flow of money from the people who have excess money in their hand. Actually, who is the person who, sorry, the person who is having excess money in their hand deposit the money in banks, or the person who is having excess money in their hand invest the money in share market. So that excess money is going to the hands of people who is in need of money. That is, if I am having 10,000 rupees excess in my hand, that is, if I am having 50,000 rupees of salary, monthly salary, and out of this 50,000 rupees monthly salary, I may be spending 40,000 rupees, and I will be saving 10,000 rupees from my monthly income. So out of that is, I will be depositing 5,000 rupees to LIC, that is LIC premium I may be paying. Then I may be depositing 1,000 rupees as an RD account in a bank. Then I may be depositing another 4,000 rupees in share market. So this 10,000 rupees is the monthly saving. And where this monthly saving is going on, when I give 5,000 rupees to Life Insurance Corporation of India as LIC premium, with that 5,000 rupees, what LIC is going to do, LIC is actually taking that LIC premium, and they are investing, they mobilize that such kinds of insurance premiums, and they will invest that LIC premiums received from me and similar people, and they invest in the capital market. So what do you mean by investing in capital market? LIC will give, actually invest in capital market means they subscribe the shares or they buy the shares of companies from secondary market or primary market. So that means the companies are getting capital through LIC. That is, when LIC is buying the shares of particular company, that company, some company is getting capital for them. Okay, so hence the companies that are in need of capital gets money through the Life Insurance Corporation of India. So I think you are clear with the example. And when a company is getting a capital amount, what this company is going to do? By using the money they receive from LIC, that particular company will be purchasing fixed assets, or it may be using that money, that capital received from the LIC as an investment will be utilized by the company for expansion purposes, and hence the business will again flourish. So in such a way, the economic development is facilitated through the savings and investments inside a financial system. So that is a basic thing regarding saving and investment. So now we will go back to the discussion on financial system. So we started the discussion with the financial system, and I have already told you the Indian financial system have 4 components. Mainly it have 2 components, that is a organized segment and the unorganized segment. And the organized sector of Indian financial system is subdivided into the organized sector is subdivided into financial market, financial instruments, financial institutions, and financial services. So we will go back to this discussion. Actually, these 4 components interact each other and integrate together to facilitate the transfer of fund from the hands of borrowers, from the hands of savers to the hands of the borrowers. Actually, inside a financial system, the flow of money is taking place from the hand of savers to the borrowers. So actually, who is the saver? I am a person who saves money. I usually get monthly salary. I save the money, and I save the money and give the money to the bank or LIC or such other financial institutions. And what that financial institutions are doing, they collect that money and give the money to the borrower. Who is the borrower? Companies who need capital, and it may be some people who need money as investment, and hence the money flow of money is taking place from the hands of savers to the hands of the borrowers. So that is a role of the financial system in every country, and particularly in India also the same thing is happening. So that is a significant role that is played by the financial system. And when we start the discussion on the structure of the formal structure of the organized segment of Indian financial system, we will start with the first component, that is the financial institutions. So as already I have told you, the Indian financial system have 4 components: the financial institution, financial market, financial instruments, and financial services. So when we see about the financial institution, first component we are going to discuss is financial institution. So we have we all know about different financial institutions in India. The first category of financial institution that we commonly know is the regulatory institutions in India. We all are aware about the regulatory financial institutions in India. Which all are the common or prominent regulatory financial institutions in India? We know it's a Reserve Bank of India. Then there is a Securities and Exchange Board of India, SEBI is there. Then IRDA is there. Okay, so there are different regulatory institutions in India who regulates the financial institutions in India. In the top of the regulatory institutions, we know there is a Ministry of Finance. The ministry that is concerned or that controls the financial sector in India is the Ministry of Finance. Okay, then again there is Reserve Bank of India is there. Reserve Bank of India, what is the Reserve Bank of India is doing? Reserve Bank of India regulates the banks in India. Then there is a Securities and Exchange Board of India that regulates the stock market in India. The stock market intermediaries in India are regulated by Securities and Exchange Board of India or SEBI. And we have IRDA that regulates the insurance sector in India. So these are the various regulatory financial institutions in India. Yet another classification of financial institutions in India is banking institutions and non-banking institutions. So we have two broad categorization for financial instruments. Another broad categorization about for this financial institutions in India is banking and non-banking institutions. So what is banking institutions? Banking institutions are the institutions that are permitted to do banking transactions or banking business in India. So we have different kinds of banks in India. As per Bank Regulation Act, we have different categorization for banks. So the commonly known kinds of banks are the public sector banks and the private sector banks, then commercial banks, then cooperative banks. So such and such different kinds of banks are functioning in India. So all these are the banking institutions. Then again, another categorization is non-banking institutions. So there are some institutions in India, they are dealing in financial transactions, but they are not allowed to do banking business. They are actually known as non-banking companies or NBFCs, non-banking financial companies are there. So in our area itself, we have Muthoot Finance. In our locality, we have Muthoot Finance, Koshamattam Finance, or such and such financial institutions. They are that are dealing in with the financial instruments or financial transactions they are doing, but they are actually not banks. They are actually non-banking financial companies. They do financial transactions, but they are not allowed to do banking transactions. They are not allowed to issue checks. They are not allowed to take deposit, but can do financial transactions, and they are known as non-banking financial companies or NBFCs. So that's the thing regarding the financial institutions. Now we are going to financial market. So let me go back and tell you the discussion once again. That is, we are now discussing about the organized sector of Indian financial system. In the organized sector of Indian financial system is broadly classified into financial institutions, financial market, financial instruments, and financial services. So the discussion on the first component, financial institutions, is over. Now we are going to second component of Indian financial system, that is a financial market. So what is financial market? So the word market itself denote the meaning of the word or the financial market. So market is a place where the transactions or trading take place. So actually in a financial market, the trading of financial instruments take place. So we know in a vegetable market, the trading of vegetables take place. In a fruits market, the trading of fruits take place. Similarly, in a financial market, trading or transaction of financial assets take place. So it's a financial market is a place where financial assets are transacted. So in a financial market, the financial assets like equity shares, debentures, treasury bills, and such other kind of financial assets are transacted. So that is a financial market. Again, the financial market in India is classified into two categories, that is a money market and a capital market. So on the basis of this classification this classification of financial market into capital market and money market is actually on the basis of the maturity or peculiarity of the financial assets that are transacted in this market. That is, the financial assets that are having or financial instruments that are having less than 1 year maturity are traded in a money market, or instruments that are having maturity of less than 1 year maturity is known as money market instruments, and they are transacted in money market. And financial assets or instruments that are having maturity of more than 1 year is traded in capital market. So this is on the basis of the peculiarity or feature of financial assets or instruments, our Indian financial market is classified into capital market and money market. So remember, capital market is a market where financial instruments or assets of more than 1 year is transacted, and money market is a market where financial assets or instruments of less than 1 year is transacted. Again, on the basis of the kind or type of issue that is taking place in the capital market, we have primary market and secondary market. So primary market is the first time issue market. That is, actually in a market, in a financial market, what is taking place? We have already seen in a financial system, actually in the financial market also, this money is transferred from the saver to the borrower. For example, if a person who is in need of money approaches a capital market, he be looking for money from the savers who have excess money. That is, for example, uh, one company, that is, for example, VGuard Limited. VGuard Limited is in need of money for, that is, it need capital for expansion. And what the VGuard is going to do, when VGuard is announcing that it is going to sell its capital or its ownership, people who have money in their hand will approach the VGuard Limited and they will come forward to buy the shares of VGuard Limited. Actually, this first time issue, that is a sale of ownership of VGuard Limited to the public or people who have money in their hand, take place in a primary market. So it's a first hand market. And people who have already brought these shares in the primary market can subsequently sell that shares in the secondary market. That is, secondary market is a second hand market, the place where the subsequent trading of the securities take place in the secondary market. So that is the difference between primary market and secondary market of the capital market. So remember, the primary market is a market where first hand issue or first hand transactions take place, and secondary market is a subsequent transaction taking place. Secondary market is a market where subsequent issue or subsequent transaction of the financial assets or capital market instruments take place. So that's the difference between primary market and secondary market. Again, when we go to the money market, what is a money market? Money market, already I have to discuss, already told you, money market is a market where the short-term instruments, that is instruments with less than 1 year maturity, is transacted in the money market. And the different money market instruments are or money market segments of Indian money market is money call and short notice market. Then there is a treasury bill market is there, the commercial bill market is there, and so similar certificate of deposits are one another form of money market, one another segment of money market. So these are the different there are different sections or segments for Indian money market. So that's all regarding the financial market. So with this, I am going to conclude this session. So today we have seen what is saving and what is investment, and we have seen what is a financial system and what is the structure of Indian financial system. We have seen. So Indian financial system have organized two segments, that is organized and unorganized segment, and the organized segment of Indian financial system is broadly classified into four. That is, first one is financial institutions, second one is financial market, third one is financial instruments, and last one is financial services. And out of these four components, we have gone through the two segments or two sections of this Indian financial system, that is financial institutions and financial market. And the next two segments of Indian financial system is that we have to see in next classes is financial instruments and financial services. So that we will see in the next class. So I am concluding. Thank you.